All right, it says we're live. I believe we are live. We got you on Facebook. We got you on Twitter, and we got you on YouTube. Maybe about a minute early, but that's what happens when I'm messing around and I hit the wrong button sometimes. It happens. All right, so it's Thursday. Now, we're not going to do our score predictions. I will have my score predictions tomorrow, but I don't know that it'll be in a live show format. So if you want to start doing score predictions for Tech Oregon, we can tonight. It's either or Thursday. We'll look at a exhaustive piece on SMU football and try to define success and what you guys think success looks like for SMU over the next 5 to however many years that you want to try to game it that way. And then we've got the key stat, or at least what I think is one of the major key stats in Tech and Oregon. So all that, you guys know what to do. You get in early. You let us know the audio's good, the video's good. Thumbs up, high fives, whatever. You let us know the talking box is on, just like Damon there. And you jump in on the United Supermarkets text line. Easy to do. That is for our good people there on Twitter and on YouTube. Use the text line. Make sure I see your comments. 806-772-0197 as we do hang out in the Arctic Air Studios, brought to you today by our good friends in Red River, New Mexico, just up the canyon, a wee bit out of town. If you're looking for something a little more secluded, you're looking for Tall Pine Resort. So tell the Louders we said hello. They're going to be open for another few weeks. So if you're planning a little getaway, they might be able to sneak in up the canyon there at Tall Pine Resort in Red River, New Mexico. Also brought to you by Premier Sportsplex. The game is on. After school activities are on. Tournaments for volleyball and basketball already filling up for that time of year. So the good people at Premier Sportsplex, thanks to you. All right. I think we got some people. I think we got enough hands to make this thing go. Let's do it in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com, the website where we archive everything. You start your day there with the question of the day, just like you did this morning on our either-or questions. Tough choices must be made every Thursday on either or. No gray. It's all black and white on Thursdays. We also got a key stat, I think, for you in this game tomorrow. As I said, we've got your score predictions if you want to start doing them tonight. I'll be on tomorrow. I just don't know if it'll be interactive or not. It may be pre-recorded. And we'll talk about SMU and how there's this huge piece on Yahoo Sports about David Miller, one of their alums and big donor, and how he just went out like a dang old wildcatter, man, and got a bunch of money together. And, oh, man, we got the gang back together. We can buy our way into any conference we want. And we did, by golly. It was a business transaction. Whatever. So glad you're with us today here from the Arctic Air Studio. If your area is not Arctic today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, you will probably need to call the Bear. CallTheBear.com. That's right, David. Welcome to Lubbock, Texas. Elevation 3,400 feet. I'm trying to sneak an extra few feet in on them. And hotter than hell. 120, 130 on the turf. That they are not making a bigger deal out of this is criminal. Criminal, in my opinion, after what I had to endure about the elevation of Laramie, Wyoming, for really good in-shape athletes whose cardiovascular is not affected by a change in elevation that much. Hey there, Dallas. Hey there, Randy. Glad you're watching. Michael wants you guys to jump in today. Let me give you the either-or questions, and then we'll start going through today on some different stuff. And welcome back, NFL football. The Fighting Mahomes now 4-point favorites. It's shifted about a half point here in the last half hour when the news became official. What we thought we already knew, now we know officially. Travis Kelce will not be performing tonight for the Chefs. Great googly moogly. Either or, what's the better ad campaign for the insurance companies? Either the Allstate Mayhem campaign, Mayhem guy, been going on for a while now, or the progressive Dr. Rick, the counselor who guides people turning into their parents. I'm a geek when it comes to advertising campaigns. Used to subscribe back in the day. We used to get what was called magazines, and these things came in the mail, and they were delivered to your home or apartment. In my place, and I got Ad Age. which was the industry standard. Now, I wasn't an advertising major, but back in the old days, you'd get in mass comm and you get exposed to all the mass comm you could get, from advertising and marketing to broadcast journalism to straight up write it down like Don Williams. Anyhow, I've always been fascinated by ad campaigns. I love it. If I had not, I truly think, had I not ended up doing what I ended up doing, that, and I do de facto, by the way, engage in quite a bit of advertising marketing. You don't do what we do now without doing that. I would have gotten into advertising. So the campaigns to me are fascinating for the insurance companies because they all do the same thing the exact same way, pretty much as prescribed by law, that there's about this much wiggle room. And I am not saying this to demean any of the fine insurance companies. You can go talk to my man, Jeff Shropshire, and he can explain it to you. So what they do and they're not alone in this type of industry, you have to sell something without selling your product in a way. They tie it back with these campaigns. They really do. But think about all the different things over the years that insurance companies have utilized to try to sell their insurance. I mean, Mutual of Omaha, hey, they came up with let's show animals. Let's get Marlon Perkins out there. Well, looks like Jim's in trouble with that anaconda. We'll be back after this from Mutual of Omaha. The actor in the Allstate Mayhem commercial is perfect. He's great in it. So which one's better? Either Mayhem series or Dr. Rick, you are turning into your parents. We don't need to be thinking about leaving before we've gotten to the game. Hi there, Teresa. Hi there, Craig. Chris getting in. The other one today. We tread into dangerous waters here. Which logo for Texas Tech looks better specifically on a football helmet, and a football helmet only? The original flat double T, the original double T, the only double T, in my opinion, or the 3D double T that was created in 2000? Only on the football helmet is this discussion tonight. Only the football helmet. What does it look better on? Which one do you prefer on the helmet? Which do you think is better on the helmet? Because now that they've done the throwbacks, some of our younger people have now had a chance to see how cool the old one looked. That there are people in their 30s and even 40s that truly weren't really paying attention and didn't really know. Not their fault. You're born when you're born. Certainly in their 20s, they don't know any better. And younger than that, I take no stock in their opinion. The Geico Lizard is not up for vote. It's either or. Pay attention, Troy. I hate people who can't follow the rules. David wants old school. I'll go with Mayhem, says Damon. Dr. Rick is describing my life to a T. The original double T pops more on TV. I agree with that. While Kingdom was greatness, Dr. Rick is strong to quite strong. So you guys can get it on the United Supermarkets text line. All your tailgating needs ready to go. Man, don't be waiting until Saturday. Roll in there tomorrow if you got time. Do everything. Get it ready, because you're going to be thinking more clearly on Friday. You're going to wake up, whether you're going to be out there tailgating or at home tailgating or whatever. Man, I'm going to block you, Trace. You know I'm going to block you. Just go tomorrow while you're thinking clearly. United Supermarkets, get all your tailgating needs. Whew. So either or Thursday. Better ad campaign, either Mayhem or Dr. Rick. We also get you on the text line. Listen to the Joey McGuire radio show a little bit before my show. Heard altitude way too many times when they should have said elevation. Excuses. I was listening just a little bit to that show, and again, I have not heard them utilize the elevation excuse. I really haven't. Now, it's been talked about. It gets talked about, but they really hadn't utilized that. We will get to, and you guys could throw out any of your key stats or any of your key stuff if you want to on this Tech Oregon game as we go through. I'll give you mine, and one that just jumps out for me. That, and it's big every week. Small sample size after one game for both teams. I think it's going to be really big this Saturday night. Hey there, Aiden. Glad you're watching. David says, National Life and Accident owned the Grand Ole Opry. Yes, they did. On WSM radio. That is not smooth. Whoo! My goodness. That'll wake you up. Hey. Off the United text line, United Supermarkets, the lack of using your 6'9" tight end was a problem. Interesting enough, Mason Tharp is at the coaches show this week, and they're going to be talking about tight ends. We'll see. We'll see. Doughboy checking in Little Rock today. Our man from Guns Up Trucking, hanging out in Arkansas. If you see him on the road, flash the Guns Up. He's got a real cool Guns Up Trucking logo. He's going to send it my way, and I might throw it back there behind me every now and then and everything else. Dallas wants to know, which logo do we have that higher winning percentages while wearing? Pretty much a wash. 650 WSM on your dial. Now there, Hillary. So either or Thursday, which logo do you think, in your opinion, looks better on the tech helmet? Either the original double T or the 3D double T. Helmet only. Helmet only is the key right there. We'll do some NFL before we get out of here. If you guys want to talk Chiefs and Lions. Lions very very trendy pick at +4.5. It's +4 now. And everyone in the desert now has moved to 4. Circa was the first to drop it from 4.5 to 4. South Point and Westgate moved pretty good and quickly there at the Superbook. And as usual, one of the last ones to move, the Golden Nugget. Hello, McFly, still 4.5. Good grief! If you're watching in Las Vegas and you want to skin a sports book, they got to have nothing but squares there, right? That's all they've got. Ray says we have 2 talented tight ends, both with just quite strong names. Yes. 33, Anthony White, freshman, Abernathy, Texas. The model for this week's uniform reveal. I wonder how that goes. Do you want to dress up and do the uniform? Yeah, okay. No, I don't think the Chiefs will sign Chris Jones soon. In fact, I don't know. They might end up trading him. The solid double T, because 3D double T can get lost on the black helmet. I agree with Hillary for the most part. Very hard to make it out. You lose all the impact of the 3D aspect when you put it on the black background, which is why actually about one of the only places that I have really liked, and I would get rid of it there, but at least at midfield on the football field, with the field being green, the red, the black, and the white, you can see it. There is that definition to it. That's about the only place it actually looks halfway decent for the most part. And defining success for SMU. How many people? I'm going to get into it in a minute. Have y'all read the feature today by Ross Dellinger on the crazy wild shenanigans that David Miller and the group of 12 millionaires went through to get SMU into any conference that would absolutely tell you? Have y'all read that story today? It's all over social media. It's a Yahoo Sports story. It's a good read. I mean, it's not nothing against the writer, but man, oh man, so much lunacy taking place in the Metroplex. Troy, as he's bounded down, loaded up, and trucking. Gotta go. Thank you. Appreciate it. A man in Lindell, somewhere. I've got a picture of me standing in front of the Lindell city limits sign. It's the plot of the Pony Express 2, yeah. Off the United Supermarkets text line, the original double T, the only one worth a plug nickel on a helmet. One Lauren Motter would agree. She's a big advocate of level the bevel. Well, she's a smart woman for being a Colorado graduate. She's pretty smart. Raise your hand if you follow SMU since Sonny left for Fort Worth. Not many people in Dallas apparently can do it, judging from the fans they didn't have there last week. Hello, Derek. Ugh. So yeah, if you guys read it, you'll know what we're talking about. Even if you haven't, I'm not even going to do a bunch of pull quotes from it just because it's kind of pointless. But that's what we're referencing today there. Now let's talk statistics and analytics, shall we? We have a very small sample size for 2 football teams. One won easily against Portland State. One struggled and lost on the road at Wyoming. The one that struggled and lost on the road at Wyoming got a quarterback performance that was decent enough to win with most days. That if you give me a quarterback with a 143 and a 66, okay, that's not great. It's not what many Texas Tech fans think a quarterback should roll out of bed and do. I get it, I understand. But the problem was the offensive line. Say it with me, everybody. The problem was the offensive line. The problem last year when you had problems was the offensive line. Your sack adjusted number was under 3 for rush. That is not acceptable. It's not acceptable against Wyoming. It's not acceptable against Texas. It's not acceptable against Oklahoma. It's not acceptable against most teams. A fat man should be able to fall down and trip at the line of scrimmage and get nearly 3 yards. The offensive line didn't block worth squat. It is suboptimal. The offensive line didn't finish blocks. They didn't engage. They were very loose on the backside, which allowed backside pursuit flow and eliminate any cutbacks. They weren't very good. Is it scheme or Jimmy's and Joe's? Guess we're going to find out, aren't we? Because the Jimmy's and Joe's are supposed to be better. Meanwhile, let's go out to Eugene, Oregon, where the Ducks ran all over Portland State. Bo Nix gets the headlines, and he was good. He was like 23 of 27, something ridiculous like that, 200 and whatever, and they took him out and they played 3 quarter. But what'd they do? They ran the ball. They ran the ball really well. They ran the ball, well, wait for it here, not 3 yards a carry, not 4 yards a carry, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10, 10.2 yards per carry. Bucky Irvin, your big offender, with 119 net on 4, 2 touchdowns, 56 yards. He's a fast man, mama. Jordan James right there with him. He was the guy who really had to work hard. He had 10 carries, 8.6 average. The number's 5, my friends. The number is 5. You've got to, if you're Texas Tech, get around 5 yards per rush. You've got to get Oregon down to around 5 yards per attempt. Yes, it is a bit run heavy, but when we say run heavy, that means it's not run heavy the way we think of when we say run heavy. But they commit to running the ball, and they do. Wise up. Yes, I am going to watch Mahomes play tonight. I will. I will indeed. He's so good on opening night. Going to have to be that way tonight. So you've got to get Oregon down to around 5 yards a carry. They never played from behind the sticks all night. Not that Portland State's a good test, but you have got to put them behind the chains every now and then. You've got to put them at a passing down where everybody knows they're going to pass. Okay, let's see that Bo Nix arm again and see if you can get some pressure home this time. See if you can get some of that home this time. And then you've got to help out your quarterback. You cannot live on 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8 and expect to be making plays routinely against a good team. You couldn't do it against an average team. Wyoming's fine. Wyoming's okay. Wyoming's an average team. They're not good. They're not bad. They're certainly good enough to beat teams when they don't do the necessary things to win. So look at that number all night long. Just keep saying over and over in your mind. Where are we on the plus minus line with 5 being a stochastic number that you're looking at? And say, where are we on a moving average right now on 5? Where is Tech on a moving average at 5? Where is Oregon at a moving average on 5? I'm telling you, the team that is at or above that is going to be the team that is going to be winning most of the night. It's the offensive line. 100%. It almost always is the offensive line, is it not? It's no secret. When you've been good at Texas Tech, you've had good offensive lines. Every single time. When you have had good By good, what do we want to say? 7 wins in a 10-game schedule, 8 and 11, 9 and that type of stuff. O-line, go back and look at them. Games are won in the trenches. Yes, they are. Our improved O-line is going to make it hard to win. If they don't play better, they will make it hard to win. Off the United Supermarkets text line, your tailgating headquarters this weekend. How will the fans react if we get our tails kicked by Oregon? Hashtag 60 minutes of us. They won't be happy. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be picking Texas Tech to win. It's a matter of what score am I going to go with tomorrow. Why they got to be ugly? Why can't they just be big people? Yeah, I mean, you've got to reestablish the line of scrimmage as an offensive lineman. And one of the problems with offensive line play, I think, really over the last 20, 25 years, and it takes a while. There's a lagging impact and everything. So it takes a while to get all the way down to high school. It took a while for the high schools to start doing the spread offense and everything else and mimicking the air raid and Mike Leach and whatever. It took a while for that to happen. So then it takes a while for the impact of that for your offensive linemen and let's just say in the state of Texas, who now have become big finesse offensive linemen. That it's not an aggressive hand on the dirt. We're going to grind this thing out 4 yards at a time, 5 yards at a time. We're going to get down. We're going to run block. We're going to run block. We're going to run block. We're going to be an aggressive dictate. It becomes more of a softer read and react pass pro mindset that these guys come into. So over the last 10 years, you have seen more and more of that. That's what the offensive linemen look like. Now we get to college, and when we really got to run the football, we've got some guys that hadn't had to do that, Hey, but what's the upside? You have a lot of great quarterbacks now that have grown up in this era. That the state of Texas used to not put quarterbacks into the NFL. Hey, Randy, the late, great John Madden talked about the trenches. He loved it. Yep. Danny, not that this is a bold statement, but 5 yards per carry is necessary to control the defense and the clock. Can't let Oregon have that many offensive possessions. They'll get their snaps in. Again, it's going to be 120 something degrees on the turf. Why isn't anybody talking about this from an Oregon standpoint? If the elevation was going to kill Tech, why isn't the temperature going to kill them? Because they're at 70 degrees. Off the United Supermarkets text line, soft shouldn't be in the same conversation when talking about alignment. Get down the field, block someone like Alabama. Those guys are few and far in between. That's why they make a lot of money. I'm just giving you the historical background on the change that we have seen in the attitude and how these guys grow up and how they're taught football and what they have to do to be successful. That's just the way it is. And eventually it'll flip back probably. Maybe, we're probably not going to go back to the days of leather helmets, but somebody's going to have some success outside of the service academies, even though they're trying to legislate it out of the game with some of the clock changes, which I still don't know that that's really doing all that much. Key stats 5. You got to rush for 5 on average. You got to pull them back down closer to 5, or it's not going to matter. All right, get you on the either or questions. Fire away. Either or Thursday. The better ad campaign, either Mayhem, All Street, the Man Guy, or Dr. Rick. You're turning into your parents. What is better on a helmet? What do you think looks better on the helmet for the double T? Either the old flat double T or the 3D double T only helmets. Helmets only. That's all. Which do you think looks better on a helmet? So far, it's been pretty heavy original double T on that. And then whatever else may be on your mind. Mayhem all day in the old double T. How many points would you think Tech would need to score to actually win? 34 minimum. Doughboy, I see a lot of official timeouts due to the fact Oregon will be cramping up. Over, under, 4, take the over. Yeah, I can see that. If Tech doesn't score at least 35, they will not win. Yeah, I think that's, and you were probably typing that as I was saying it. 34 is just the price of poker right there. That's the blind going in. Hey, Joe, glad you're out there, man. Good to see you. All right, so this long, laborious story about SMU and the tale of David Weaver and his rich friends who are bound and determined that, by gosh, they're oil men and they're capitalists and they got money and we're going to get in a conference, and they started all these months ago flying around. They got planes and they were flying to places. and talking to people in the Big 12, and they were talking to people in the Pac 12, and then they started talking to people in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they were going to get in, and they were going to do whatever they could get because they got money. Nobody was listening to them, but they got money. We could do this. We're going to get the whole city behind us, and we're going to build a stage, and we're going to put on a musical, and we're going to save the farm. It's an eater and a rider. Yep. That's why they're not in the Big 12. That's why they weren't in the ACC. That's why they weren't going to be invited to the Pac-12, most likely, even if it had survived. Maybe the Pac-12 in the survival. And why they are going into the ACC as backfill, not as addition, not as doing anything. They're there so they'll have some teams when Clemson and North Carolina and Florida State leave. But let's just all applaud them, though, for a great job. You got in a conference that'll be the fourth best conference. You're not taking any TV money, but you will get conference money. They still get money. They're not going to get the TV money. So you got some people to play. You're in a conference. Now what? Nothing has fundamentally changed about SMU. They do not deliver the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And the mere fact that teams will be playing them occasionally in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, what are they going to do? Just schedule all the ACC games in Dallas? No. That's not going to change. People aren't going to start going to the SMU games. They are not going to become the Metroplex team any more than TCU controls the Metroplex, because the Metroplex starts with the Dallas Cowboys up here. They're like way, way up there. And then after that, there's the Dallas Cowboys. And then when they're good sometimes, you've got the Mavericks and the Rangers. And then for the cocaine and boob job crowd, you've got the Dallas Stars when they're good and compelling. And then after that, on the pecking order, there's the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. And then it's Texas. It's Texas A&M. It's Oklahoma. It's Texas Tech. You get the idea. So what's success going to be for SMU? Nothing's going to change. Gerald Turner, their president, is quoted in the Yahoo column saying, "Yeah, we were going to get into the Big 12, but man, we just got shut down by people like Texas Tech and the other Texas schools who they know we're competing against them, and they weren't going to give us a chance to elevate." Okay, yeah, no, that's not it. SMU is the second favorite team of their own alumni. Nobody cares. Agreed. Thank you, Hollywood Mike Reiner with the Stars reference. I remember the good old days. Cocaine and boob job crowd congregated at the Mavericks games. Yep. Watch highlights of Bo Nix. Was impressed. The offense style is difficult. Yeah, they're a good team. Irony when SMU tried to shut out Tech from the SWC. Chris knows his history. Texas Tech fans in the 50s started cutting up Neiman Marcus cards, mailing them back to the store in Dallas, trying to get SMU to flip. Life is hard. Nothing's changed, though. So what's success going to be for SMU going forward other than just saying you're in the ACC? They're not going to achieve at a higher level. They're not going to achieve at a higher level. They're not going to just all of a sudden, there is no giant to awaken either. There's no giant to awaken. And now they can't even have the advantage. They talk about, a lot of people talk about, well, man, all this money in the NIL, and they're really, because when they were really good, they were paying players, and now it's legal. It's legal for everybody now. Not that everybody wasn't doing it to some extent. But there is no advantage. And again, on the NIL, in Dallas, you're way down the pecking order. So good luck with that. Which will happen first. ACC will reach the end of their TV contract. ESPN will go bankrupt because of the collapse of cable satellite bundle. ESPN is going to get bought by somebody. Not sure who ends up buying them, but ESPN is going to be, Amazon. Somebody's just going to wake up one day and go, well, we're just going to buy it. Easier to do that. Sonny came as close as you can get to an SMU revival. Agreed. Off the United Supermarkets text line, why couldn't Bo Nix do much at Auburn? Probably a combination, I think, of talent around him, coaching, and he's a good quarterback. He's good, but is he great? So the novelty will wear off quickly, and SMU will go right back to being SMU, and they'll have 20,000 moderately interested people showing up there at Owenby. I said Owenby, Gerald Ford Stadium. And they'll crow about this and that, and nobody's going to care. But hey, they get to be in the ACC. Nothing has fundamentally changed. They're not going to be a destination school just because they're in the ACC. Doesn't matter. So I wish them well on that. Where are we? We're about 20 minutes away from kickoff. Kansas City and Detroit. This is now painted for, except for the Golden Nugget. You guys are still hanging 4.5. Teaser. This is a great teaser game, by the way, particularly if you are a fan of Wong. Not wrong, Wong. Teaser plays where you can drive through some key numbers. If you are in a place where you can do this and you can still find a 4.5, I don't recommend it at 4, but at 4.5, it was very good with both Washington and Pittsburgh, that you could tease that game with your traditional 6-point teaser, get in there. At 4.5, and even at 4 from a game standpoint, I still like, I kind of like Detroit on this one tonight. This sure does smell like a field goal game again for Kansas City. And at some point, Mahomes is going to be human on opening night. Maybe not. Danny, I have no idea what any of that means. That's good. So, the total at 52.5, I think is right. That's dropped a little from the open. But with Chris Jones not playing, the way you get to Goff is by pressure. When he's had his most success, he's not been pressured. It's going to be hard, I think, maybe for Kansas City to generate that pressure. And Detroit just covers. Detroit's been a cover machine the last 2 years. So at 4.5, it's really likable. At 4, it's still likable. At 4.5, it was a really good teaser option. At 4, it's not so great because you don't get 10. You don't get to drive the number through 10. Have to admit, I won't jump on the LBK Kansas City bandwagon, go Cowboy. That's fine. Be a fan of who you want to be a fan of, man. There's a game that's being played tonight, though. Yeah, without Kelsey, which was announced officially before the game. We'll see. It's always interesting. I think the number's pretty tight, pretty right. I don't know that we'll see a 3.5 just because I don't think there's any impetus right now and any appetite for it really to move to that 3.5. But this is where Patrick Mahomes is at his best. All right, so we'll get out of here. I will have something for you tomorrow. I'll tell you this: if we go live, look for me at about 5 o'clock or 5:30 in a fairly brief broadcast. I'll give you the heads up on social media on the time. The Ropes Eagles, Joe, going to be taking on Sudan and the Ming Sting of the Hornets tomorrow night. Went in Green Bay and booted them out of the playoffs the last game they played. Yeah, the Lions. Yeah, Green Bay. Knee biters, all of them. 5 or 5:30 if we go live with you. All right. Thank you. We'll take all the help we can get from out there. Oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta hit a button, otherwise this thing keeps going on forever. I will this is true story here. Denver City coming to Abernathy, but they won't be running the inverted wishbone. They'll get up in the night or something and have to go take a leak or whatever, and I will occasionally look at my office and go, surely I turned off the stream, right? That I have not nightmares, but I turned that off. It's like leaving the iron on or something. Did I turn it off? All right, so we got to say goodbye to our people on Twitter and YouTube. We thank them, and we say goodbye in 3 and 2. They gone? They gone yet? They're still here.